Yo YouTube, what's going on, and welcome back to another quick little video. Breaking news, Full Sense is set to get Talon's spot in VCT Pacific whilst retaining all of the Talon players. Boom was also considered for the spot, but it looks like Full Sense basically came out on top. A lot of drama, a lot of kind of news and chatter within the VCT community around this Talon kind of dilemma. Whether it was the fall through of sponsorships that kind of let Talon in a pretty vulnerable situation with the finances. But basically all seems to be resolved, but not so much. Of course, last year, Talon were basically a top 4, top 5 team within VCT Pacific. They missed out on their chance to qualify for champions, but they were pretty consistent all round. Whether you love or hate Frost, I'm personally quite a big fan of him. He was able to take this team of rookies and basically deliver the best result that they've ever seen. And of course, he is now with Global Esports. So Full Sense set to get Talon's spot in VCT Pacific. Pretty interesting. Of course, Full Sense, I've recently watched a lot of their games through the Soup Valorant League qualifiers and then into the main stage. In terms of the players, all of Full Sense's previous roster were really nice. I thought they were a genuine, pretty strong Thai team. And of course, one of the big issues around Full Sense was, okay, Boom, do they drop their team and pick up the Talon team? Or the Full Sense drop their roster and, of course, try and get the spot as well? And it looks like Full Sense have come out on top. Now, pretty interesting kind of information from Sheep Esports, basically giving you a bit of the story and what we've known up until recently. But then you get to this part. Cruz retained as head coach and Leviathan promoted. Okay. Now, this isn't as much of a win as people might seem. I think Cruz was probably and is still probably one of the best IGLs in Pacific. He is one of the OGs of Valorant and that Pacific League, and it's a shame that he's had to call quits on his playing career so soon. I do know that, because I do watch Spike Talk quite regularly, and I know that Frost was almost saying it'd be a shame for Cruz to go into this head coach position so soon. He would have been a guaranteed coach within the next couple of years regardless, but the fact that he's had to make this switch without really having that deep of a run, you know, he's really found his team with the core 4 or 5 players of Talon, and just as things started to get juicy and a little bit tasty, he's decided to go into the coach role. So I mean, it is looking pretty good for Talon in 2026, or Full Sense. We'll have to get used to saying that instead of Talon from now on, I think. Full Sense Primi. Interesting. But yeah, I think it's not best case scenario, but it's pretty good so far, because we don't have Primi, Jit Boys, Thai, Killua sitting on the bench. We have them in the league, which is the most important part. And of course, who is going to be taking over Cruz's role? Well, it's Leviathan. Leviathan, of course, ex-Full Sense player now. Still Full Sense, I guess. He's still pretty good. I think what is the interesting question is who is going to IGL. I would put a pretty decent amount of money that it will be Jit Boys. I know that Frost in previous interviews and just him kind of yapping on Spike Talk or whatever, praises the hell out of Jit Boys, says that he's going to be a future IGL. He said that about Primi as well, but of course, I don't think Primi is at that stage in his career just yet. So I'd assume that Jit Boys will be taking over the role. He's also played with Cruz the most out of these players, so he'll have a decent understanding of what he likes to do, how he likes to call, what Cruz can also guide him in that IGL role, which I think is a great kind of bonus with Cruz staying within the team as the coach. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame to not see Cruz IGLing next year, but I think the fact that we get to see these 5 players still compete and still have Cruz within that team is also pretty cool. I think it is going to be absolute cinema next year for those that were a fan of Talon, because not only has Jovi gone to RRQ and is now the head coach of that team, but Frost is also starting his new project with Global Esports as the head coach. And now we have Cruz, who is also going to be the head coach of Full Sense. So that kind of rivalry is definitely something that is funny, exciting, and interesting. I know that Cruz and Frost will probably want to absolutely demolish each other as competitively as possible. I know that Frost has definitely shared his thoughts and feelings on that subject. But yeah, overall, pretty good for VCT Pacific. And something that I did find quite interesting is on Spike Talk, Frost addressed the fact that himself and the Talon kind of members of staff looked at other organizations to pick up the Talon roster. And he basically, from what this report is saying, is reached out to FlyQuest, Aurora, Team Spirit, and S8UL. Riot Games kind of rejected that and kind of wanted to do it themselves, which people have their opinions on. So it is a bit of a shame, because I do think that in another world and in another life, we would see Talon of 2025 compete in 2026 with Frost still as the head coach, Cruz still IGLing. But I think with the clock kind of ticking down and Frost having to fight or flight, of course moving to global because the situation was unclear, this is the outcome we've got. So it does make you think of what Talon in 2026 would be able to produce with the similar roster, maybe on a Team Spirit, or an Aurora, or even FlyQuest maybe. But yeah, this is the outcome that we have got. So yeah, just a quick little video. If you like it, like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts and feelings down in the comments. But yeah, pretty interesting. All right, bye-bye.